What's going on, Facebook and YouTube? It's your boy Chris Masasma, your humble driver. I'm right now recording after a 7-hour run I gave myself basically 6 p.m. to 7 a.m. and here I am at sunrise in Melbourne. There's the Super Uber right there. And just wanted to do a quick chat about what it takes to basically start becoming an Uber driver. Some people call this a roadmap. This is what you can get from Uber Greenlight Hub, but I'll give you some hot tips on the things that I found really important when I started out. All right. First of all, the first hot tip, as told by one of my mentors as well, is to be educated, to learn. When you start any new endeavor, learn as much as you can. I gave myself about 2 years of time to just kind of percolate and learn about Uber before I started. And it helps me, if you wonder why I might have a 4.94 to 6 rating, or the fact that I get the compliments that I do get. I have an amazing riders, by the way. I do exude positivity. But it's because that I did read up and I did watch a lot of video content and I did learn as much as I can before I started driving Uber. Every time you sit as a rider, ask questions. How long have they been an Uber driver? What times they drive? Because everyone drives different times. The reason why they started driving. Ask them simple questions like, what's the hardest part about Ubering, or what is your favorite part of Ubering? And ask these drivers while you're being a rider. That's part of research for you. Do that. Uber is such a beautiful platform. It's a great platform in the sense that it gives you this opportunity to run your own business, to be a self-contractor, to be your own boss. Ooh, that's bright. And to basically have this sort of freedom that you can stop and start whenever you want to in terms of work. Now, obviously, there's times that are better to work than others, but it's constantly roughly the same. There's going to be a tendency now I've been driving. This is my 4th month in, and it's the end of the 4th month that I'm driving, and I've learned so much experientially as well, just driving and learning hands-on. But what you can find out too is that just watching as much video content as possible. I'm a huge advocate for learning before you even begin. Any and all. Sometimes you get videos and some are pretty mediocre. Some are schmick. I like to think mine is a bit schmick. And sometimes you find a person from Atlanta who drops gems all over the place in 20-minute videos and how to make 10K in a month. There are incredible videos out there and it's inspiring, and you got to learn from those guys who are doing an amazing job. Now, the roadmap to becoming a driver is simply this. I like to break it down to get your driver's accreditation. I like to stop by the Taxi Service Commission themselves and actually hand in a form, get a form and fill it out, hand in the form. You might have to get a medical. You have to have a 10-year young car and as little demerit points as possible. And that's about it. Once you've been educated and you've been watching videos and you're learning about it before you even start, boom, 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 you got those 3 things, you're ready to go. I highly recommend, though, to stop by the Taxi Service Commission and get yourself the driver's accreditation as soon as possible. Fill out the forms and hand it as soon as possible because I signed up in December. I had to wait about 6 weeks. I'm an exception to the rule. They said about 4 weeks. They actually said about 2 weeks. They were wrong. Then they adjusted it and said, oh, it takes about 4 weeks to get it. And it's because of the huge influx of drivers in January. There's going to always be people that Uber is going to be recruiting because here's some stats. When you become a driver, there is 100% retention in terms of being a rider. All right, anyone who uses the app will use it again. In terms of drivers, it's about a 30% retention. So people who start driving, a lot of people there's no formal education from Uber. They just expect you to be a good driver. They can make sure that you have as little demerit points as possible, and then they let you go. But if you don't actually think like a professional driver, if you don't actually think like you're gonna drive extremely smooth, you're gonna take the turn softly. It's like Initial D, if you've ever seen that movie. You're driving and making turns, and you're and your soy milk that's sitting in the central console doesn't spill. That's how smooth I try to drive, and that's how smooth you should be trying to drive. You got to give that sort of level of like, it's like a connoisseur experience while you're riding, and that's different. I've experimented with precision driving where I'm driving exactly on like 62 on a 60 road. I've driven, you know, you can drive a go-kart and try to go as fast as you can. Don't do that on the road. But in this case, it's much more like you are a chauffeur. You got to think of yourself as a chauffeur and drive as smooth as you can. That's it for today, guys. That's all the time I got for right now. But guys, I really look forward to seeing you in the next video, and I got a lot more stories to tell you. But here are the hot tips for this one. Concise, 5 minutes and 45 seconds. We'll catch you all later. Mwah.